Nobody should really.
When you get yours, get mine.
Yeah. I was trying. Cooperate.
Oh, yes.
I don't
You don't
know,
like that book?
somebody told me
Thank
if
you.
looked good or not. I didn't get one of those, did you get two?
I don't think so. Oh, maybe I did.
I like it in the middle like this.
Yeah, any meeting that we're together more than the two of us.
Right.
Oh, thank you.
Usually a lot less formal and just discussion, and the general public is not usually part of the speaking process.
What's this all about?
So, okay, all right, are we ready to
I don't
go?
know if it's just the, how much there is or what.
Shut that down. Okay,
Right.
all right. Stand for the pledge. Steve, would you please lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Where is he? I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably out drinking water.
He's probably out raking roads.
It was your Sunday.
Okay, can we call the meeting to order with a roll call, please?
Councilman Baldry,
Here?
Councilwoman Shane,
Here.
Councilman Hoyt,
Here.
Councilman Lewandowski,
Here.
and Supervisor Duncan.
Here. Okay, do we have any communications received that we need to go over this evening?
With the emails going out, exactly.
Oh, I thought you were looking at Vicky. Vicky, any official communications received by the town that needs to be discussed with the board?
I just got the Yankee Doodle contract from Betsy Colvin, other than that, there's nothing. We got the letter from NG about renewing. If we wanna discuss that a little bit, and what's going on with it.
You wanna hold that for old business when it's
Yep.
on there, contract with NG, okay. Anything else, any other correspondence received?
I think that's it.
Okay, alright, new business. Okay, old business, review and board discussion of new code of ethics draft.
And we had a little discussion with the head of our ethics committee and certain board members. They've worked real hard, the ethics committee, on the draft that's in front of you today. In fact, they've been working on it up until the last few days, I think, was some other changes made to it. But one of the keys to this whole process is for the town board members to have the time to carefully look through this. Because we last did this about 22 years ago, and this is a substantial update. If you all could carefully review it, because they need your feedback. And after you give them feedback, they can tweak it into a final form, but then the next step is to set this up for a public hearing. And you really wanna have it in almost final form for the public hearing, so that any changes thereafter are really changes that are brought to you by the public, that you all think about and say, yeah, that's a good idea. So right now, I would just ask the town board to carefully take time. It doesn't have to be this minute, but, you know, in the near future, to go through the whole code of ethics as drafted by John and the committee, and then give them some feedback.
May I?
John, absolutely.
What's very important is that the copy that you are reading from and analysis, on the last page is revision date of August 20th of this year.
Because if you're not reading the August 20th, there's some changes that have been
I
made.
have read this.
The substance and the text, I put these in your mailboxes over the weekend. I hand delivered Steve's so that he wouldn't lose it, but
And he did.
the fact of the matter is that there are no substantive, textual, or numerical changes from what you originally got. However, I found, as did the rest of us, find a lot of, a few format issues, typographical errors, and I think there was one misspelling. But I've corrected all that I can find. We've read this countless times, and maybe that's part of the problem. We've got very close to it, and we've tried to sterilize it, but I doubt that you'll find too many errors. We feel that it's very important that you have something as clean as is possible, because if this is going to go to the Secretary of State, obviously you want to present something, a document that's credible, and one that you can rely on as having been researched and presented properly. I will caution you, there are 3 pages, I won't bring them to your attention, that there are formatting issues that my computer just wouldn't accept changes to. And they're not major, they're spatial issues, and it really makes no difference. But in the context of having a formal document, I just was hoping to have it perfect, but we just didn't get there. Nonetheless, we're willing to answer any questions that you have now or in the future. We have an email address, as you should know by now, thanks to Vicki and a couple other people, Erica too. And so you can communicate with us that way. And I think that's it. I don't have anything else to say.
That's funny. I'd be interested in knowing what the time frame would be on this. What are you thinking would be time for us to review this? Comment back to you, back and forth, and what are we looking at?
Having given a copy to Steve Saturday, I was hoping that he would have read it and memorized it by today. But I, realistically, I would think a week. Only because the longer, as I'm sure you've experienced in life, the longer things sit, the more they get pushed to the back burner. And we would like to have your acceptance so that we can move on to the open meeting with the townspeople. And then we have to, from there, once this gets sent to the state, we need to establish a training protocol, and then begin training all the town officials and employees on what this is all about. So, and how, also how to make use of it. Now, there are 2, as I'm thinking about it now, there are 2 omissions from this form. They are the actual complaint form that anyone can submit to us, as well as an advisory opinion form. They're rather simple, and I can get those to you at another time. I don't think that they're critical to getting through this part of the process.
It wouldn't hurt though to have everything in front of everybody, and part of the problem with the formatting is this is an accumulation of like 3 or 4 or 5 different sources that went into creating this document. So if anybody has word processing capabilities that could somehow, fix some of the formatting issues, that'd be great too. Because right now, I think what John's hitting is there's certain things that were taken from the state documents, some from East Greenbush, some from other places, the county. And that's why it may look familiar to some of you guys. So if there's someone we know that could do the formatting issue, because literally, if you move something here, it throws something off over here. And
yeah, it's a function of retyping these pages, I think, but it's not on my PC. By the way, I just realized in my earlier submission to you of this code, you'll note that it's marked draft. The one prior to the one that I did on the 20th, it's a revision date of April 10th. The 2 forms that I just spoke of are attached. So one is sworn complaint, and the other is request for advisory opinion. They're on the back of that submission, and so you can just detach them from that April 10th issue, discard the issue itself, and keep those forms with the latest edition of August 20th.
Okay, I see those attached to your original
Yeah, last
submission,
pages.
so, okay, so it's the sworn complaint and then the request for advisory opinion.
Correct.
Okay. I have a question about training protocol. Where will you go to for guidance on coming up with that?
Well, primarily the state, but each of us has had considerable experience with respect
Do you
to
have that?
policy and procedure and, as it relates to training, employees. And so, Michael particularly has, a reasonable background in, that process. And he has a lot of documentation that we can draw from.
Okay. Okay, anyone have any questions for the ethics board or anything to add? No? No. Okay.
So you're saying these ones, the sworn complaint and the other, just add them on to the,
Yeah,
The
and on
revised
to that
edition?
August 20th edition that I gave you Saturday, and everyone else in their mailbox.
I'll make you a copy.
I did not put revision dates on those are originals, so, that should be fine.
Add into what you have now.
Okay.
So I don't think you have these, cause I think it predated your assumption of the three.
Do you have that, Steve? The old one?
yes.
Okay, great. Actually, there, you don't have an extra copy, so there is your, that's what you need to, get those last two
Along with
pages.
this.
Right, exactly, yeah, so there's. Okay, alright, thank you, again, obviously you guys are really putting a lot into it, I appreciate it. Now we'll have a good comprehensive code when we're through with this.
Okay.
Good, okay, thank you. Right, anything else for the ethics board before we close that for tonight? No? Okay. Okay, the next item up for tonight is the contract with NG. And I understand Vicky has a letter.
Well, we got the letter about the fact that the contract is ending at the end of September.
Did you see?
Looking into it a little bit, back when we first started looking into this back last September, I believe it was, National Grid was only 2 cents per kilowatt hour, and we were paying 6. At that time, we figured it out, the savings was astronomical. Here we are a year later, and I've been following up with National Grid on a regular basis. Today I went back and I got the last 3 quarters prices per kilowatt hour. The last quarter of 2020, which would have been October through December, National Grid was at 5.1 cents per kilowatt hour. January through March, they were at 5.34. Currently, for this quarter, we are at 8 cents for National Grid. So, in reality, NG at the 6 cents, 6.5 cents is cheaper than what National Grid is going right now. I think that we need to move forward, try to get a price from NG. I know that Erica's working on this, and she's been helping me somewhat with getting some of this information together. And get them to say, we will give you 30 days, this is the price that we will lock you in at, and find out how you guys feel going forward. If we wanna go ahead and renew with NG, if they're gonna lock us in, cause obviously we've seen a almost 4 cents per kilowatt hour increase, and you don't know in National Grid where they're gonna go. The guy did say today he expects it to come down from the 8 cents, but he would not speculate to any certainty where he thought it was gonna land. So I think that it's worth looking into NG again and
Guarantee
just,
that it won't go right back up.
they're very hesitant to give us, from what Erica was explaining, very hesitant to give us anything more than like a couple weeks, say, this is the price we have, you have until this, you have 2 weeks to lock in. So it may be something we have to do right at the beginning of September, and then if they give us a decent price and you're comfortable with it, we lock in at the next meeting. I don't know how you wanna move forward with that.
What was our period of, how long were we under contract with them? Is it 3 or 4 years?
And September 30th, wasn't it?
And September 30th, but it was only a couple year contract, cause if
Right.
you go back to 2019 when Great Eastern Energy or whoever went bankrupt,
Right,
that's when you entered that contract, so we've only been on the contract for 2 years.
okay,
No, we've actually, the Great Eastern was the first company that we contracted with. Then when they went bankrupt, we rolled to the next company they
Okay.
gave us. They tried to match the price as close as they could at that time.
Right.
Because they had no control over a company just going bankrupt. So before that, we were spending anywhere from 13 to 20 cents a kilowatt hour before we locked in with NG. So over time, we had spent a lot of money.
Right.
Before, and so it's kind of like your variable mortgage. Does anybody want a variable mortgage? You never know where the interest rate's gonna go, and that's how this runs as well. If you lock in, you're locked in for 3 years at a minimum.
So that's what we would have to do, is a 3-year, if we
It
commit to this.
depends, I mean, we could see if it could go lower. I think that's just always the
When
time
it's
period they go with. I could ask, we could find out. It's not, I mean, I talk to live people that I call, I talk to the same people each time. They called me in June and July and wanted to give quotes, and I'm like, you guys weren't interested, but at that time, it was running still about 6 cents, if not a little less at times. But I knew that the plan was to end the relationship with them.
Right,
That needs to be discussed then, 3 years.
yeah, I think, the thing with National Grid, I know they're required to sell it to us at their cost. So if market goes up, it's their cost, if market goes down, it's their cost. So for us as a town to lock in at a rate and then run in the situation we're running into before where it was what, like 4 cents?
It was 2 cents when we first started
It was
investing.
2 cents and we're paying 6. Like, how long are we paying 8 for compared to all that money we lost? So at least if we go back to National Grid, we know it'll always be just at the market value for what they're paying for it, and we're not making a decision where we don't know how the future's gonna bring. And that's just not me talking on the whim. I used to be involved with Ambit Energy years ago, and it's this whole big game that they try to have you sign in when it's high because they look the best, and then they're banking on it being lower because they're there to make money. National Grid's not making any money, they're selling it to you at cost because that's what they legally have to do. So, but it's up to the board on what we decide. It's just we gotta decide next month.
is it worth checking with some other companies too, NG and?
They price it out.
They price it
They
out,
usually price it out with
They
6.
actually give you 3,
Yeah.
oh, they give you the,
they give you
Yeah.
3
They're
different.
like broker.
so you guys have a comfort level with dealing with them, they're responsive and,
The paperwork seems,
right, and the billing's been
It makes it
consistent with
easier,
what
I
we
mean,
need,
they
yeah.
go through and they'll give you the 3 different companies and they go with whatever the cheapest company is,
Right.
and that.
That's the way, great, they did it to start with when we first signed with it, yeah, okay.
So
Okay,
this would be on the September meeting?
yep, September meeting to make a decision on.
Yeah, just when I was doing stuff with Ambit, what they did was they guaranteed to be 2% less than National Grid. So after a year, they would audit and say, for the whole year, did you pay more or less than National Grid? If you paid more, they actually cut you a check to make it 2% less. If we're gonna look at companies, we should find a company that's going to have a clause that's gonna protect us, so we're not spending the taxpayer money on something that's more than what we could be paying.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. Alright, anything else to add to that? Tonight, yeah, you know what we're doing, okay. Okay, on to the audit of the books. We had Paul Zarecki and I believe Amy from their firm, Amy Rich, were out here already, they sent us a list of items that they're looking for. I've left a voicemail with Paul this afternoon, so we can get set up schedule wise when they can come out and have the documents available. Anything else with this?
When does this start then?
It already has.
There it
They
is.
have a retainer, which
Yeah.
But I mean, when they're actually gonna be here.
we haven't set that up yet, but they're anxious to start whenever.
I had a meeting with them
Met with Vicky already, right?
last Thursday. And they come in and they went over what they could look at with mine, and unfortunately, miscommunication or whatever, I had conveyed to Ingrid that they would need her here, and the bookkeeper and Ingrid were not available that day.
So wait, you need to be here and the supervisor
They would prefer a bookkeeper, the supervisor, and myself.
Right.
for the meeting.
The meeting and then the requisite times after that, the times they'll be here looking at the documents.
But that's not normal. Normally, it's the controller, and if you don't have a controller, the bookkeeper.
Okay.
And the town clerk has a role in this too, but most of the time, it's the bookkeeper working with the auditors.
With what they're looking for.
Exactly.
And for the period
So-
that they're looking at,
I've made a recommendation to various members of the
Yeah.
board,
right,
and that is to bring back our bookkeeper, not as a bookkeeper, but as an independent contractor who was around during this period, so as to advise the independent auditors on all these different things.
Well, it's gonna be her work.
right,
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
They're gonna, yeah,
it's not the new one.
Yeah,
It's her work,
Maureen
right?
is the one that dealt with all of this,
Yeah.
when it was dealt with.
so that's my recommendation, have Maureen come back in, have her work directly with Paul and Amy. And Vicky, after a little while, your involvement will be almost nothing.
Right.
It looks like what they're looking from you is just the vouchers from that period,
Right.
2020, the
As a consultant, I
disbursements.
would
Yeah.
imagine, yeah.
Right.
so wait, what was the time period on this?
2020,
That's where they're starting.
What, just January?
January 2020, yeah, a year, that's over a year ago.
Okay, and
Just
then
going
to
back.
what?
To the fiscal,
To now.
so 1/1 through 12/31.
That's their
2020.
start.
That's their starting window. And then,
They have to, they can go back.
12/31,
yes,
okay.
Right, they sent an email at 5, just asking if they had, expected date when the information would be available to review. And then, yeah, they're wondering if all 3 people would be available, is it possible, if so, what dates? They said to me that they'd be even willing to come in on Saturdays or whatever works, they're willing to be flexible. And then they have down here that, I guess he misspoke down a prior voice message and was apologizing to you.
And what kind of time dates? Cause we're gonna be paying
We have to pay.
when the minute they walk in the door.
That's why
And
I
pay
recommend
Maureen.
you bring in Maureen, cause every minute that they are trying to chase something down and
Yeah,
we're not finding it quickly,
I know.
we're paying for it. So Maureen will be able to say, I know exactly where it is, here you go.
But what do you think the time factor in a day would be? They're here at 9 o'clock.
Let me tell you, it varies. Sometimes the auditors come in and they set up a thing where, okay, every Saturday or every Friday, we're gonna visit for the next 2 months. Other ones set it up where they come in for 2 weeks straight,
Yeah, I know.
you know,
Right.
and do it that way. I think this initial meeting is where everybody's gonna get to know each other, they're gonna figure out what the timeframes are, and that's why I figure it's important for Maureen to be there, cause after Vicky gives in her bit of information, you give in your bit of information, it's mostly gonna be them working with, if you do it, Maureen, to get everything in, and then, you know, this is a small town. They should be able to do the audit fairly quickly.
We gotta make sure Maureen is
There- what-
willing to do this.
what was their, where did they audit municipal books before?
A few Saratoga and, places in Saratoga County, I believe.
Do you know any of the names of the towns?
Not offhand, I think.
I think it was in their contract, in their.
Yeah.
I looked
don't
and looked,
have
I
it
didn't
at
see it.
home.
Yeah, I just didn't see where they referenced any, and I didn't see on their website where they referenced it, and they had a bunch of different references, but all,
Didn't he say
But don't we
work
have
for the
this
county?
year, at the end of the year, for them to complete this by? I'm trying to remember in the
No, we didn't-
bid.
we didn't-
Well, it's in the, I thought it was in the RFP.
Yeah, but we didn't go to the RFP.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
which is another whole, really?
So, and these are the same people every time they come in? These would be the same auditors?
Oh, well, this is just the first time we've ever dealt with them.
Okay, so, but,
These are new to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they'll be the same, it will be Amy and Pete.
Oh, is that what you meant? It'll be different
Paul.
people,
Paul.
okay.
they'll
Yeah, it
the
won't be-
ones that-
Is it
Amy's
Pete
gonna
or
be the
Paul?
one,
Paul,
Is
it's
it
Paul.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Peter Paul and
Pete, yeah.
so
It
Paul
will
and
be
Amy.
Paul and Amy.
Yeah. And that's how they normally do it, they keep it to one main person you deal with, and then sometimes they'll bring in other people from a firm to help out, but I think you're gonna end up probably seeing Amy mostly.
Yes,
I may be wrong on that,
no,
but-
that's what they indicate.
yeah. And so Amy will be the primary one working with somebody from here, and literally, it's, end of August, they should be done by the end of the year, easily,
I would think so, yeah,
so.
okay.
Has anyone spoke to Maureen about this?
Yes, I have spoken to Maureen,
So there is
That's
some
in the
interest there
works.
possibly.
possibly, yes, yes. Okay.
But that's something we should work on
Yeah.
as soon as
We should,
possible.
yeah, do a resolution for the September meeting, if
Mhm.
she's willing at her rate. Okay. Right, anything else with the audit? No, and the only reason I put bottle money on there is just to note, we've gotta do something about spending that money. And the controller's office recommendation was this year, and get it off the books this year, so what are we,
We have spent some money on the AC units, right?
why would it come out of there though, if it's, I'm just thinking of your rationale with the basketball court, that's a town property, so why would we spend bottle money on a,
Because it's something that they can use every year for the summer program.
Wouldn't
so
it
why would we
stay?
pay out of their budget, out of their normal budget?
Because it was Noel mentioned it, saying, hey, we've got this money, can I spend this amount of it to go buy, you know, the stuff?
But it's up to all five of you, whatever you wanna do, I mean, bottle money was supposed to be spent for recreation for kids, right?
Group, yeah.
Right.
So, you know, you can spend it on air conditioners, you can use, building maintenance funds to fix the air conditioners, and spend, other monies from the bottle money on whatever, buying basketballs, it's whatever you five wanna do.
As long as we spend it.
As long as you
Controller's
spend
office,
it,
yeah, we
and
gotta get it spent.
in a minute, I'll bring up something else, but, yeah.
What, another,
Well, we'll talk about it after you're done with your bottle money issue.
okay.
What kind of money are we talking?
Yeah, what did we spend on the AC? I haven't seen the bills. I signed them.
15,
We don't have bills yet?
I heard it was gonna be like $1,500, I don't know.
Really?
I haven't seen anything on it.
She asked me over the weekend how to make if she should submit it all. When I turn in the receipt for the two AC units, do you want me to put them on the same voucher with my regular receipts or on a separate one? I said, please do them on a separate one, as we had to declare an emergency to get the purchase made quickly, so we'll just track
Correct.
it separately. So that
And then
was
you can
correct.
always fund it separately, cause it's on a separate voucher.
Okay, but we don't know how much.
There was three, there's only two.
The two apparently as of yesterday,
I thought it was
two.
three.
I thought it was around five.
$500.
Yeah.
Up to 500.
Okay. Okay, are there any thoughts on what we're gonna spend the rest of the money on? Bottle money, do we have plans, are we doing field trips or crayons, or what are we doing, what are we buying?
I'm not sure yet. I asked Noel to come when she can, and, you know, hopefully she'll be here one of these meetings.
Can do all kinds of fun stuff, you mentioned, the town having a holiday party more toward the end of the year, you could have a part of that for youth only kind of thing, focus the money, a lot of different things. You can, look at the smile on his face, who's an expert on deal with youth here, come on, right there.
Yours, right on here,
I
right on.
know, yeah. It's, yeah, I can come up with lots of things.
Okay,
I think I'd put Pierce in charge.
Well,
Who's in
give
charge
us
of
a
that?
call.
okay,
But how much money is the total amount of the bottle?
6,000,
Over
I guess?
6,000.
yeah, it's over $6,000 and we just returned a Andy's truck plus, so it's probably close to 7,000 at this point. minus the AC units if we go that route with it.
Right.
So I'm just writing down Pearson charge.
I'll come up with some thoughts.
Yeah, you know, I mean, $6 is a lot of money. If we almost start a ski club or rent a van or whatever, you know, something tangible and meaningful and substantive for the youth.
Tom had an idea.
I talked to Noelle, she had mentioned a couple years ago about the community gardens and they were gonna put them down there. She also mentioned that we could do it up there. I did talk to Joey Vitale Wolf. He said he would give us all the advice and help that we need if that was something that the youth program would do. They could put gardens in, they could have a little stand there or something, just
Up there where?
at the school.
At the school? Okay, alright,
They wanted to, so.
right. So that's a possibility. Yep, project, yeah, the land down by there.
And if she wanted to do a up all night kids thing, that she mentioned before to us, that could be something where, pizzas and different things, could use some of the money for that. But it's just, you gotta lock some stuff down.
Yeah, and then we were also talking about the 14 acres of land here that we own, trying to figure out something to do with that. But I guess it's been left pretty much a mess.
Which?
There's a lot of work there.
Well, that's,
I think it's 11 acres, it's down,
Right between the library and down there, that was like a Spriggers.
Yeah, Jody brought that up to me. I think it's a great idea doing something down there.
I talked to Lester King about possibly mowing it like he did down at the state park. He went down and walked through it, and he said that he wouldn't wanna do it. There's too much, there's metal sticking up out of the ground, there's steel cables, it used to be a junkyard. And when the town cleaned it out, they didn't do a very thorough job from what he was saying, there's all kinds of stuff left around under the high grass. And he said that he didn't wanna use his equipment to try to go in there and cut that down. Now, whether you wanted to get an army of guys with weed whackers and go in there and clear out some of it or something, you know, that's an option.
Where is it?
Just down the road,
On the other side of the
just the other
library.
side of the library,
The old spray.
And it goes
the old Sprague's
behind, like,
junkyard.
along the cemetery and the horse riders.
It butts right up to the trail riders, if I'm not mistaken.
How and why do you require it?
What's that?
How and why do you require it?
Oh, I'm not sure, I think, I thought it was 14 acres, I guess it's 11, Ingrid's saying, so. I'm not 100% on.
Yeah, I heard we took it over because of the condition of the land. And that.
Yeah, it was something to do with.
Do you know how, do you know how or why we acquired that land?
Do you remember, Tom?
There was an old building, the old store.
Yeah, Emma's old store.
And it was rough shape, and John Darlin somehow pushed it through to take it over and, took the store down. So we've owned it since John Darling was,
Supervisor.
There was plans at one time to put senior housing in there. And there was actual drawings drawn up. I guess it didn't work.
it's full of metal.
It's junk.
Oh, and like old trains, everything.
I think the very least we should,
Brush hog it and make it.
like Jody mentioned to me, maybe have like a community day and then get a bunch of people together and just weed whack it down. At least it's not, you're driving through town and you have this whole overgrown thing there and you find out the town owns it. You
Why wouldn't
know,
we sell it?
what's that?
Why wouldn't we sell it?
Right.
Are we in the business of owning real estate in the town?
Well, the only thing I'm thinking is that if we already own the property and we see the condition of it, we could use it as an open space, like Jody was mentioning, where we could have something for townspeople to use, because let's face it, most townspeople don't wanna use the state park during the summer because it's overrun. If we could have something there that could play off of the library and make it a little bit better, we already own it, you know, it's not gonna cost us any money. The only thing I'm worried about is if we tried to sell it, and it used to be a junkyard, what's the contaminants that are in the ground there?
You know, now we're liable for that to clean it up, whether we own it or not.
Right, but we already own it, so it's already our headache. I think the first step is to get it cleaned up so we can actually see what we're working with and then figure out what the best course of action is.
I might, we might wanna do a field trip with the board and any other people in the community that wants to look at it, cause I'm not
Right.
sure exactly where
I'm
the
not
lines
that.
are on this, I'd like to see
Right,
that.
I did,
Tom
and
can
then-
pull the maps.
and I walked it a little bit and I pulled some maps. It says 14 acres and it bumps up against the trail riders.
The long narrow strip is up by the cemetery.
So you have the, a survey map or, I mean, tax map's not a legal map, but you have a map of it. Alright,
You can probably put the little app on your phone. Amazing things.
You can't do that.
You step over your property line,
Show the
it
back.
turns red.
Yep.
Really?
You know where you can hustle.
No, but
Yeah.
Okay.
just an
that's
option.
another issue.
Trying to think
Alright,
of
yeah.
stuff with money,
That's
to
another
spend
issue.
money on.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, anything else with the bottle money? Looks like at this point, we're waiting for Noelle to let us know what items she might have that she wants to do, okay.
Maybe we can discuss it at the September meeting. Have a list,
Yes, let's,
make a report on that.
that would be good. Alright, anyone have anything else of old business that didn't make it onto the agenda?
Just, did we get our first check on the COVID relief funds?
Yes.
So, as part of that, and you guys may be way ahead of me, we're supposed to come up with a document that we're gonna file showing how we're gonna spend those monies. And that's just something to start thinking about. It's very, the interim rule they passed for it is very broad. Most people are using it to offset losses that were sustained because of COVID. Could be loss of revenue, could be cost for a lot of the protective gear and everything each municipality bought. But basically, we would wanna look into coming up with that plan. In fact, somebody sick Petersburg on me, but I sent them the information. They need to do the same thing. So, but I just wanted to plant that seed that we.
We actually got more, we got,
What's that?
our total was $220,200 and change. That's, so we received the first 110,000 and change 10 days ago. Municipalities had to respond, even though they say everyone just got it automatically, that's not the case.
Correct.
So some municipalities in Rensselaer County did not respond and did not get what they were going to get, what they were entitled to. So the residual was divided up amongst counties that, or towns that did respond. And because Grafton responded, we got an additional $900. So we received notification of that today, $899.14, of which we'll get $449.78 in a check coming in. So if you see that coming in, that's what that is. It comes from the controller's office.
And we also received the money from the ambulance grant, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
I know it was an Eastwick, but not everybody gets Eastwicks.
yeah, no, we did, we received that.
So I just wanted to plant that seed for us to start working on that, you know? And it should be pretty simple. We look at the 2019 budget
Right.
and revenues and expenses, and we compare it to 2020, and it pretty much answers itself on where we lost money.
So you would apply the money received to what, reimburse our general fund or
Oh,
what?
it could be a lot of different things. It could be reimbursing us because maybe we anticipated receiving revenues of a certain line of 200,000, but we only got 100,000 because of COVID. So we put in 100,000 into that fund, you know,
Okay.
to offset it.
And that's acceptable and
Oh, yeah.
so you don't have to show what you're doing to spend it, it's just you're addressing a loss,
Correct.
you're addressing a loss, okay.
Correct, that's one way. Now, it
Right.
also goes the other way too. So you expended monies buying a lot of protective gear and everything else, 50,000. I'm not saying we did,
Yeah,
I'm
it
just
doesn't
saying
apply
that's
to Grafton.
that's
Very
another
small.
thing we could do.
Right.
Things related to water, sewer, runoff, things like that. There's a lot of things in there I'll go over if somebody wanted to have a little mini committee, you know, and it's not that hard to do. It's not that hard to do, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, my understanding is that whatever we spend it on can't be something that's going to continue to cost us money after the expenditure.
It can't be money in normal course. It has to be tied to that interim rule they came out with.
Right, okay,
So, and I'll send that to all you guys so you have it.
okay. I'm sure we can, Vicky and I were speaking about maybe some upgrades and additions to the town hall. I think Her Honor was talking about needing more space for themselves, for the judges' chambers. So there's some things we could maybe do with that, maybe expand out the back here. I mean, $220,000 is a lot of money.
Oh,
No.
I think you only have to do for the first right now,
For the
And then-
first,
for the 110 that you got.
yeah,
And then you would just, for the future, here's what we anticipate.
okay.
So,
Okay.
I'm gonna send it everything to you right now.
The email today from, I'm gonna say it came from the controller's office, but it had fresh guidelines and additionally saying about this $899 we're getting because of the other communities that defaulted. So, there's a few links in there, I don't know if you've seen that one, but I'll send you that later tonight.
Beautiful.
Oh, yes, so we're flush. Good deal. Okay, anything else?
Did you get a key yet?
No,
Okay.
no, not from Jeff's
Did
keys.
Jeff turn in his keys, do we know?
Yeah, Jeff turned in his keys, I know, yes. So what do you need, front door and
Whatever he had.
conference room, okay. So Pierce needs his keys.
And we've had a couple issues
And the
with this
code.
new front door,
Well,
not the door, but certain
keys.
people's keys are not working.
My key's not, I mean, it works, but I gotta jiggle wiggle and
But I think the
before it'll
There's
go.
never gonna be
Jiggle.
really listed.
jiggling lessons.
So, you might wanna, when we do a resolution to have keys made, you might want to go ahead and make a couple more, cause I know the court clerk's key does not work.
Okay.
That legitimately doesn't work. The senior, or the historical society, I'm assuming they got their key to work, I don't know. the other
Remember when
side.
Tom did the work, he said, do your keys always work well? He asked you and I whose key works well, because he anticipated that being an issue
Yeah, so,
with sticklers.
so we may wanna get a couple extra keys made so that we can cover these
just
issues.
have them in case somebody's.
Okay.
So the other
working.
thing, do I go on the committees that he had?
If, that was my thought, Pierce, those are supervisor assignments, so my thought was jump onto the committees that Jeff was on, and then we'll do them for, redo them for the rest of the year. One committee I'd like to see Pierce on definitely would be youth, that wouldn't be a conflict, right?
No.
No, not at all. So one of the two of you, if you wouldn't mind, it's youth is Steve and
Frank,
Frank, right?
you don't want
Right, okay, well, there you go.
you two can.
There you go. But yeah, we
Yep.
can rework some of those as we go on. Jeff was also on the highway committee, the ambulance committee, so I'll get you a list of that.
Just think.
Committee assignments.
And then I'll have to have a code too, right?
He has a
Oh,
code.
he does have
You have a
code.
code,
I do
right?
have that,
Oh,
And you have an email.
I do.
Is his link live?
Steve's email?
Did Pierce's link go live?
Yep.
Nice, okay, good deal, so Pierce has an official email.
Yep.
Committee assignments, okay. Okay,
Then, the sexual harassment training is tomorrow night. I heard there was some confusion about if we were doing it as a group at the town hall or not. I just thought it'd be good to make sure everyone knows what's going on and make sure everyone's informed that it's going on.
how'd you make out with the library?
As far as I know, the highway crew and a couple of planning board members, are gonna come here tomorrow night and we're gonna do it in the conference room.
Okay,
Anybody's welcome to come.
Okay.
What time
Don't
are
know
you
how many
doing
people-
that?
It's at 5:30 video.
5:30?
But I think it's important to know also that it's also available after this. Tomorrow night's not, like,
The
oh my
last-
gosh, if you don't
right.
do it tomorrow night,
right.
you're gonna miss the
When
boat.
we did it,
It's
you
not
tried
in
to do
there.
that
You
in
can
county,
plug it
I
in.
just showed
Sexual
mine.
harassment and violence
Oh, I
training.
already,
Yeah.
You just bring your
just gotta
certificate.
show your
And there's
certificate.
many venues to get it from, many accredited venues to go online and just take the class. So, you don't have to do it through NYMER, but that's just a resource that they have tomorrow night. Yeah.
Tom asked me if I minded doing it for the highway crew and I said no, and so, but I guess we're gonna do it tomorrow night at 5:30.
Right, okay. They'll have to be paid for that, they'll have to pay for that, okay.
And then, I figured I'll just do a sign up sheet so that we can put it in the folder that everybody attended.
Okay.
Alright, then I have down, the budget. Do we have, who's overseeing the budget this year?
Well, the supervisor has the duty of submitting the budget to the council. And what she does is she actually files it with the town clerk. There's usually a little ceremony and everything. I don't know if you do it that
We
way.
do.
And then the town clerk gives it out to all the board members.
You know, in prior years, it was, I think Maureen handed out all the sheets and then we all had to have it back by a certain time.
Right, by September 20th or
Yeah,
something.
we follow the state calendar.
So, so are
The
we
department
all-
head thing, you're talking about? the
Yeah,
Yes.
department head. So are we all set to do that?
Yes.
Because it says, the estimate form should be furnished to the units no later than September first.
Yep.
I just know this is our last meeting before September first, so I just wanna make sure we're good to go with that. Alright, so we're good. Alright, next I have a payroll company. I know that, there was a little bit of discussion about possibly having a payroll company. So that way, if the bookkeeper's on vacation or anything, that if we have a payroll company, it keeps going without a skip. I know with hiring a new bookkeeper, if we did decide to go down this road, probably, this would be the time to look at it and make decisions on that. I think we should get pricing and see if it's something we'd like to do and compare it to not doing it.
I don't agree with that, and we're a small town, payrolls, never had a glitch that was involving the bookkeeper being on vacation or the supervisor being unable to process it. I look to what happened with my payroll HR and Pioneer Bank. If you farm out to a payroll company and they default, you are on the hook for all of the taxes that were collected, so it could break the municipality. I could, if we were a larger town, Frank, I could maybe see going along those lines, but for the sake of, you know, I think there's 22 employees that get a monthly check and 13 that get a bi-weekly check, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I would say at this point.
Well, that's the thing that I worry about, is that we're such a small town that we have one person overseeing the payroll, and what happens when there's an issue with that person and they can't do the payroll. So, I mean, we ran into this situation just recently, so I just wanted to.
What did we run into recently, Frank?
Well, people's paychecks weren't deposited on the day that it was supposed to, and
It
it
was the
happened.
next day, and that was a glitch with the bank, with Pioneer Bank had an issue with it. It had nothing to do with the processing of the payroll, or the gathering of the time cards, or anything.
Right, but it all lined up with the whole bookkeeper transition thing as well. So I'm just pointing out what it could look like, and I just wanna make sure that we hedge our bets. We never wanna have somebody not get paid or find out they don't, you know, the money's not there when they expect
It
it.
wouldn't happen. It wouldn't
So
happen. So, no, I
I
think
don't
it's,
think it's an issue to look into it, and so that way we look at all of our options. I don't think that's a bad thing, I think it's always good to look at every option out there.
no, as long as I'm supervisor and responsible for the payroll, I say no. So when you're supervisor, you can do it your way, but right now, no.
Well, it's not about my way.
Guys,
No,
guys,
no,
can I-
no,
can I-
I'm just
no,
saying
no.
that, no, it's a moot point.
But let me tell him legally what he can do. He can go to Paychex or any of the payroll services and say, we have 22 people we pay as employees on a monthly basis and 13 we pay on a bi-weekly basis. What would be your charges? And he can bring that back to the board, at which point, obviously, the supervisor could say, I don't agree with going to a payroll service, I'd rather have it done through a bookkeeper. But there's nothing to stop Frank from going to talk to Paychex, Sure Payroll, any of those, and getting quotes, and then bringing them back. It doesn't cost us anything.
Right.
So, it's just, Frank, the board may not go with you on
Right.
the idea, you
Well, I
know.
might not go with the idea either.
Exactly,
I just
but
wanna
there's
get
nothing to
information.
stop you from individually going and getting some numbers.
Okay, thank you. Alright, standard workday resolution, we gotta do one for Jody and myself, we put it in and then the whole bookkeeper thing happened and I think it got put on the back burner. But I think we have the resolution ready to go.
No, we do not.
We don't?
At the point when it was before Maureen even left office, the state sent something back and we were waiting for verification from the state on whether, I think it was Jody's was a valid calendar or something, I don't know exactly.
I got a letter back to me directly saying I'm all set.
Okay,
For the retirement, you have to fill out 3 months.
So you guys did a resolution already setting yours?
I did.
I think we were gonna set mine and Jody's, and then we found out from the state that they wanted us to hold on and to
But-
review it.
You got something back from the state already saying yours is fine?
Yes.
That sounds like there must have been a resolution then. Because here's what happens, the municipality passes a resolution saying the standard workday set for Frank is this, based on 90 days of your records. And the same for Jody.
Right.
So if you've got something back from the controller's office, from the state retirement system, saying you're fine,
Right, that's okay to do the resolution. They submitted it to them to review. And then they said due to the time period and everything, they wanna look at it further, do not do a resolution yet. I believe that's how it went, but now I know that I received something last month saying that it was all set.
because normally we don't send anything to them until after we do the resolution. We review the 90 days of records.
Yeah.
And then, based on your 90 days of records, we come up with a standard workday. And then they pass a resolution as a board saying your standard workday is X, Jody's might be Y, you know? And then we submit the documents over to the controller's office in the
Yeah,
retirement
but
system.
that's why we have to.
There's a form,
Right,
and then you're done.
right.
I don't know what happened, but Maureen said there was a question with Jody's. I thought she said it was the state had a question with it, I said, I have no idea. She said, don't put the resolution through it, I said, okay, so I pulled it for that night, I didn't. And then we switched bookkeepers, so I don't know.
So maybe the thing to do is if I can work with you guys on figuring out what, sounds familiar, what we have submitted so far, and we can get it all straightened out.
Yeah, everything the individual employee gets at home, the town gets here, so it comes to the bookkeeper, you know, so they're
I
always in
haven't
trouble.
got anything
And there's a
on
form we
Jody or
worked up.
Frank, so I
I
have no
haven't
idea.
either.
Well, we must have worked up a form for Frank to get anything back.
He did, he was included, he submitted a calendar.
Cause I think
and
he
it
was on the, or maybe he was on the last one we did.
No, I haven't been on, cause if you look at the,
Well, you submitted your calendar and it came back with issues, that was the most recent thing.
no,
Yes, there was correspondence that said there was a few things they just needed clarified before we went ahead and did the resolution.
well, I've never been informed of that.
Alright, if you guys wouldn't mind me helping out a little bit on this, cause we've had to go through it all over the place. So we'll work together, we'll get it done.
Okay.
Alright,
Yours is different.
No, I
I
do it
have
every year
down
here,
cleaning the
I've done it
town
every
hall.
every year I've done it. Never had.
Vicky and myself have talked on and off. Before we had Jody used to clean the town hall. Vicky's been doing it just to help, but it's not really part of her job. Do we want to have it be part of Vicky's job, or do we wanna have someone come in and clean and actually come in and clean?
We had Jody coming in and cleaning for years, and then it was decided that we wouldn't spend money on it, and Vicky volunteered to do it, just to do it, because we were
Yeah,
here.
there was a whole conversation on that.
Right.
We don't need to get in it any further,
Right.
but,
No, but I'm just saying, that's how it transpired, it was,
but
so what do you wanna do
I am
now?
not interested in cleaning. So, I mean, I'm done.
that's up to you guys.
I mean, do we want to put out there for someone to see if there's interest for someone to come in and clean the town hall?
I know, like Becky said, that last Saturday, it was very busy in court, and you were here Saturday cleaning,
Yes,
I mean,
I figured I'd use the
That's-
building too.
right,
Doesn't hurt me to help.
but you just might not always have time to do that, you know?
What's that?
Somebody should get paid for it.
I kinda agree with that
Well, when
too.
somebody's volunteering to do it, it's, when I can help, I feel like I should.
Right, but you can't
Yeah, that's
do that every
choice.
time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something you need weekly or anything. I don't know.
Whatever you guys wanna do.
Yeah, and,
Yep.
I don't know,
Yeah, I was
Well,
thinking,
what'd you do, once a week, or
no, I did every other.
every other week? And it was how many hours roughly?
Fine, no depends if I got into stuff,
I mean, I don't know if
4
that's
or
something you
5
wanna
hours,
put out there and see if there's somebody wants to put in
Go with that.
10 hours a month or something like that.
Put the numbers
right,
and pay them.
right,
exactly.
You know, 10 hours a month at 5 every other week or something to come in and, you know, make a list of what we consider cleaning.
Right, well, that way, like the doorknobs and the floors and the toilets and everything.
Well, with all this COVID
Taken
stuff,
care
it
of,
may be a little
exactly.
more
Right,
involved than that, but
right, and instead of having clerk or other people thinking, did I scrub the toilet today, they could be worrying about what's going on.
is that something you wanna put an ad in the Eastwick or something like that for, or?
we definitely have to advertise for it.
Right, we could, yeah, advertise for it now and get started on it right away, or wait until, the first of the year to, start fresh with a budget line for a cleaner, make it a little more encompassing than just, whatever.
But then from now to the end of the year, somebody's volunteering to do it.
Volunteer to do it, yeah.
Right.
Do it whenever they can,
I do a resolution at your September meeting, you
Yeah,
know.
let's do that.
yeah.
So what did you just say, how many hours, 10 a month?
I usually did like 5, yeah.
So you think 10 hours a month would be a good number for
To
people?
start out
do?
with, I
And
do,
then if we end up needing more,
I don't know, I was, a few years ago, and I was younger, and moved a little faster, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
I would say have somebody come in and see what they say, what they think.
Well, Vicky would know how dirty this place gets in a
Well,
week.
it hasn't been used a whole lot because of COVID and until we just opened up.
Right.
I thought we were managing it pretty well, I didn't think, it was a big issue, but
And it doesn't
Winter
include the
time
whole
it is.
place, does it? It wouldn't be
It's the-
like the conference room,
I
wouldn't be
did.
that, you did that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jody did everything.
Right. I mean, the judges in here, no.
No, I did whenever
you
she
don't do
asked
the
me
town, you
to,
don't do the supervisor, you don't do the town, the
The
line
clerk's
office, you
office.
wouldn't do the,
I didn't do the clerk,
It's
no,
just common spaces,
only
really.
vacuumed when
Right.
Sue
Bathroom,
wanted
common
me to
spaces.
or whatever.
Yeah, let's do a resolution on the September meeting.
What do we wanna say, hourly?
Pay
Do you
money
want, you
out.
can do hourly, you can do project basis, where they get a flat amount every month to do the job. It's whatever's best for you guys. If you do hourly, it can fluctuate, whereas if it's a project-based pay, you pay the same every month,
right, which
or every 2
which
weeks.
would be a lot easier.
It'd be a lot easier to budget that way if you knew what's gonna be right down there.
Right,
Yeah,
and then
if
they
you
know
do it
what
every
they-
2 weeks,
what's
it's even easier.
expected and what, and how much they're getting paid and.
Somebody in town.
Yeah, someone from town, exactly. Oh yeah, speaking of which.
So if we did $15 an hour,
Mm.
or if we wanna do more than that, how much do we
I don't
want?
think you'll get anybody for 15.
That's what I get.
I don't think
Yeah, well, you can do that,
Point one to
start
look
out.
at too is, the ambulance squad has been cleaning over here, when they're sitting over here for the 12 hours. You may wanna ask Andrea or whoever's sitting over here, they could put an application, submit, so we
Right,
ought to mention it to whoever's sitting over there, cause they come over and do it too.
yeah,
Cause they're sitting there and they're bored and they clean, they come over and clean.
More discussion on the hourly rate than, the money.
Right, we
I
gotta,
mean, we should be able to figure that out right now.
well,
Well,
that's
Jody
what's,
did the job. It
you're
was-
getting,
I get 15,
yeah,
which is what I've got since day one, so.
and that's for mowing and doing everything, so.
So that's what you get.
Mm-hmm.
If you hire somebody to do your own house, you're paying about 40 an hour or better.
Definitely,
and as of, I think, January 1st, I think minimum wage is 15 in upstate. So if we put it out there for 20, we're only looking at $200 a month for cleaning. I like the idea of somebody that might already be here, sitting here, that's volunteering their time. We're helping out people that are helping us out.
Right.
But I still think we should advertise it, see who we get in, go from there. Does 20 sound fair, or 15 or 25 or 300 an hour, what do you guys think?
300 an hour might be a bit much.
I think the ethics committee.
I'll do
would
it
be
then.
interested in
I'll go back to I definitely think it's worth 20, easy.
So do you wanna just say 200 a month if you say it's 10 hours a month? And that
One
way
every
you've
2
got a
weeks,
flat
that
fee?
doesn't work.
What's that?
If you want every 2 weeks, that doesn't work, cause it could be 3 times in a particular month.
And who's gonna supervise this person?
You can say $100 every 2 weeks.
Hopefully nobody, they can do it themselves.
Alright.
Get a key and go, come when nobody's
You know,
here.
they still gotta have a manager or a supervisor or someone above them sign off on
Yeah,
their
they're paid.
stuff.
That'd be your supervisor, I would think.
So we'll put in a resolution for $20, $200 a month, and they have to clean at least 2 times a month.
Like said, some weeks there's
Needed.
more.
Right, that's why he
So
set
I
it
don't
up
know,
as
yeah.
like, you know, 2 times a month they have to clean. It could be like the 1st and the 15th. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect as long as,
Yeah, it's not every 2 weeks, it would just be twice a month.
Right.
right, so it'd be twice a month cleaning.
Should specify time in between, so they don't come 1 week and then the next week, and then not for 3.
Right. Once in the beginning, once in the mid.
Yeah, like after meetings or whatever, yeah. Something.
Okay, we're talking a resolution in September,
Yeah.
the September meeting.
Other than that, at the senior center, did we ever get any info from the county about use?
Only the response we got right while we were sitting here.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, at what point do we make the decision on we should make the decision? You know? Because after 3 p.m.
after you make the decision. But is it that decision or is it, Frank, I'll play with you, what decision? You
So,
can't-
we asked for something in writing on usage of the senior center on weekends and after 3 p.m. And so we didn't hear anything back, so we asked about the Merrymakers specifically, and they said, yeah, go ahead. But we've never gotten the original question answered about, can we use the senior center after 3 p.m. on weekends for things that the board approves?
Right, exactly.
Keeps me under.
Steve doesn't talk to you, I guess.
But you can get.
I'm kidding.
With Steve.
Who's the county executive? Oh, you don't know him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully I meet him someday.
I tell you.
Balance your money.
Oh, let's see what Carol said.
Like I said, to hire somebody.
So what she had said was, Carol, I asked her, Carol, can the Grafton Merrymakers use the Grafton Senior Center for their monthly meetings? They wanna do business meetings and have food. She said, hi Phil, they can, but I asked they don't move the tables as they are spaced according to our rules. So that's the total of the give and take between the county and the town on use of the senior center.
Don't move the table.
So, other than that, I would, seek clarification from your good buddy Steve,
Okay.
yeah? Cause he's gonna ask you, he's gonna say, well, what do you wanna use it for?
Yeah, right.
And, you know, what are they gonna be doing in
And
there?
then who's gonna clean that?
So I guess, and I'm not trying to give Frank a hard time, but really,
I mean, I
What
know,
are
you
we-
can have the
what are we
county clean
asking
it or somebody else.
is it to just do the merrymakers, or is it to have private wedding receptions? What are we,
Right, well,
They're
that's
gonna
what I
wanna
wanna
know.
find out is anything, if someone comes to the board and says, hey, I wanna use it for this, you know, or does the board can say, yeah, go ahead?
I can answer this, no. You can use it for town-related functions, but you can't go back to the days when we were renting it out for other functions, you know? I guarantee you, that's what the county's gonna say. Until we're totally out of all this COVID stuff, and I know at one point they were trying to push to reopen in what, September, October, to do stuff
I
with
think they're open
the
2 days
seniors?
a week now.
The Baptist church used to use it on Sunday mornings for their women's Bible study.
Right, So right now, I think your hands are tied. They said the Merrymakers were fine, but I think they view the Merrymakers as a quasi offshoot from the town board.
Right.
But as far as renting it out for like, other functions, I don't think the county would go for that. Now, if the town came to them with a concrete request, we wanna have the ethics committee meeting over there, because it's got more room or something.
Right.
Then they'll deal with it and they'll give us an answer. But, we have to give them a specific question. We just can't say, what can we do after your hours, your normal hours? Because they're all worried about the virus issues. So you can't just do anything. We're gonna have to figure out what is our question to them.
See, my main thing right now is if someone asks to use it, what, do we just shoot them down, or do we say, let's ask the county if that's something?
I would shoot them down.
Yeah,
If
it's
someone
just-
comes from
I
a
don't-
private enterprise right now, I would say, unfortunately, right
I'd be
now,
mad if I
the
read
county's
something
touchy about that.
behind me and-
And so we can't. If it's something that you believe is not really a private enterprise, but it's something tied to community spirit and activities, then you carry that torch up to the county and say, this is something we would like to do because it benefits the town,
Right.
I'm sure they'll be receptive,
The quilters used to go there once a week, wasn't it? The night, wasn't it Ann Kylie's quilters group?
Yeah, but that was during the day when they were open though, wasn't it?
No, Ann Kylie's not part of that at all. It was just the quilters.
No.
That's,
I
it was
remember
just-
seeing them there
Oh,
during the
we had the
day.
library fundraisers, we had a lot of different things,
Yeah,
over the
yeah,
years.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but
we used it.
I think the county's gonna say,
Something to
for
do with
right now,
seniors.
we're gonna be very careful. And unless we can tie it to some
Oh, yeah.
community-based activity, they're gonna be reluctant. If we say we wanna rent it out to a guy, or a gal having a birthday party for their kid or something like that, they're probably gonna be no.
Yeah, we don't rent it, that's why I rent it.
Well,
Some
that was a
people go
question
for
that
like
came
the-
up before, renting it out.
People have come and used it for like the 100th birthday party for their relatives and stuff, because it is free as opposed to renting
For Helen Ellett's 100th birthday party?
Carolyn Boomhauer.
Carolyn had hers there too.
Carolyn
Yeah.
Boomhauer.
But that was, like, again, that was during the day for the
I think,
seniors.
Jody, that
No.
was, no, it wasn't. That was, they were both private.
Yeah.
That was
Really?
not seniors.
But I think his whole point of view is right now with COVID, the
Yeah,
county's not
that's-
gonna say,
I
yes,
don't
let's go open
recommend
it up for a
that
100-year-old
anybody use it
birthday
but a
party.
senior, myself.
Then again, you're gonna have to come up with who's gonna clean it.
Right, and then you're gonna have to find
You know,
out
I
who's
mean-
gonna clean it after.
Is-
Do you make that part of the,
Is the gal, still cleaning it, that
Yes.
was cleaning it?
She cleans 2 hours a day,
Oh, every day she cleans.
Monday through Friday.
You gotta remember that every taxpayer
Or
in
whatever.
town, not just a senior, paid for that building.
Right, I just wanted to be fair, I don't want,
That's a point,
I want
yeah.
people to, if they say, hey, can we use it? We have something that says,
Huh?
no, you can't, but this is why. Or, yes, you can, and this is why.
Well, I
What
think
if there
you
was a
oughta-
form?
Right, I think you
Well,
ought to come up for a
it's hard to
policy
come
with
up
the
with
town
it.
hall, a policy for the senior center, but like right now, with, like you're saying with COVID, the county's
Right.
probably not gonna let you use the senior center.
Right, and I don't wanna step on the county's toes,
Right.
I'm just
No
trying
way.
to
But
go through.
as far as I'm concerned, you'd have to come up with a policy for the town hall and the senior center, because I've had people ask if they could use this for stuff. And so,
Who owns that building? County, right?
We do.
Who owns the building?
We get money from the
We
county.
built it.
Yes,
Who owns the building?
we do.
We do.
So if we wanna throw the
Demographic.
contract out with the county, we can start that process.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to do that.
No.
Right,
And
So-
remember,
And-
we
and the
heard nothing
spirit-
back from the county attorney,
Right,
we
it's always-
contacted him numerous times on this. The only one that got back to us was the commissioner for the aging,
Carol Rose Blossom.
correct?
The building was given to the town in the spirit of doing something for the seniors, that was always what it was
Yeah.
for. And then all the renovations and all the grants and everything, and then the bonds we encumbered, everything was for seniors. So, that's a resource we don't need to dilute, if you will, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Is it a yearly contract?
It is, this
No,
one is
we-
3 years,
I
our,
think
we
it
just
is
came
3
off a
years.
5-year, but given I asked him for a 3-year this time, so we're in a 3-year contract
Yep.
right now.
Other than that, the recreation committee, we had an amazing turnout for, the Patsy Cline. I believe at one point someone counted over 200 people. You think that's right, Tom? Yeah, it was awesome. With it being such an amazing turnout, I know that Supervisor Gundrum mentioned to me about having a recognition dinner, but, as I thought about it, I was thinking, instead of just having a recognition dinner where it's just employees and not the whole town there, what if we did something where it was kinda like the, barbecue that was in the spring, that we could open for everybody? I did do some work on it, on the idea of maybe a graft and harvest feast that's done in October at some point, where it's like a potluck, everyone brings a side dish, and board members and certain people actually cook the turkey and bring it there. And I did talk to someone that does country music covers, that was willing to do a 3-hour set for $150. And the fire hall they're willing to let us use it for free. And that if we wanna give them a donation, we can, but we do have a few dates available, which would be October 17th, which is a Sunday, Saturday, October 23rd, or Sunday, October 24th. Is this something that, everyone what does everyone think? I did look, in October is Fire and Rescue Appreciation Week, so it kind of falls in line, so we could do a Fire and Rescue Appreciation while doing this event. And I just threw the date in just to throw a date, and then the time, I just threw a time in. Would it be music playing and, turkeys, and have like a town Thanksgiving almost? But we could do it for, either lunchtime or in the evening. What do you guys think about this? Do you like the idea, do you not like the idea? I don't think it costs the town much money, we could actually have the recreation committee help us out with that.
What was the date that they were gonna do the winter?
December
December
11th, I think.
11th.
Alright, so that's like a month.
Yeah.
Is that the
and a
Christmas
half
tree
away.
thing?
Yeah,
No,
no,
that's
the,
the
Yankee Doodle.
Yankee
Oh.
Doodle Christmas party.
And they also have the tree festival,
That's in
correct?
November.
That's-
That's in
November,
November,
that's,
okay.
yeah, Donna's.
Donna's
Yeah.
thing over.
Right, so
the
this would
Gray
be in
Rack.
That'd be
October,
probably a
then
great
the
one.
tree thing would be in November, and then the Yankee Doodle Christmas Spectacular would be December. I just think this would be something that could be a lot of fun.
I think they're good for the town, I really do, it brings
Yeah.
out a lot of people, and everybody raves about it, everybody thinks it's a good idea. I personally think it's not a bad idea.
If we do wanna do this, do we wanna do a Saturday in the evening, or do we wanna do a Sunday midday? The reason why I kinda ask about this is because the person that is willing to provide the music is booking up, and he's leaving those days open to see if we want to use them. And I told him if I can, try to let him know tomorrow on what days we were thinking, so he left that open for us, if we wanna go with that. I think he usually charges $250, which I still think is cheap, but $150 for 3 hours of playing music is quite inexpensive.
Now, you're saying at the Grafton Fire Hall, you mean the VFW?
Right, yes, the VFW.
Now, is that gonna accommodate, you take 200 people, like you did for the
Right.
Patsy Cline, that's not gonna accommodate that many people, plus your
They do
food
that.
and tables and things like
I
that.
think they do that with the breakfast every month.
Yeah, but people,
They're coming and going.
people come and go there,
Right, well, what I'm
Yeah.
thinking is people could still come and
Come
go,
yeah.
but have the music played outside on the side of the building and people can bring chairs and sit out there when, if they want to, if the weather's nice.
Well, weather permitting, you're talking late October, could have a snowstorm up here by then, you know?
Right, if it's not, they
Mid-October.
can play music inside.
Yeah, mid-October.
Yeah.
No, October 4th, we all remember that.
Oh, shush.
Well, some of us anyway.
Yeah, but the next day it was 60, so.
Yeah.
True. So, is this something we wanna do, and is it, do we want music, or do we not want music?
I don't know, I think it would be fine to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for, like I said, the biggest issue I think we'd be dealing with is,
What do you mean by the turkeys
Room.
provided by the town?
So either the town would buy the turkeys and the board members or whoever would cook them and bring the turkeys there, or the board members, if we want to, we could each buy a turkey, cook it and bring
Yeah.
it there, it's whatever we wanna do.
Yeah,
You know, I don't, and then everyone brings a dish on what they like as a side.
I just think maybe what you had in the summer festival was hot dogs, hamburgers, everybody bring a side dish, as having a, you know, like an Oktoberfest thing. Turkeys are a lot, you know, to cook in different dishes and carve and, you know, hot dogs, hamburgers, sausages are quick, everybody brings a side dish, they're gonna be in and outside, listening to music, just a thought.
yeah.
You know, went well up at the wedding bar for the summer, you know, summer picnic.
Right.
But you're trying to think of like a fallish,
Right, I was just.
Yeah.
like a
Right,
harvesty
Because at the
thing,
one
what
in the
about
spring, somebody had to stay by the
ham?
grill
I don't
all the
know.
time. This way
or
the
we could do a
turkeys
pie
are-
festival and everyone brings a pie and everyone can try pies
Yeah.
from different people, you know, there's options that we can do. The only thing is that, setting dates and music, and then we can lock down the rest.
so we would
It's a
hand this
little
over
tricky
to our,
that time of year to have the band playing outside.
we'd hand this over to
Right.
our,
We would
Our
see if
committee?
we'd want it inside, he could do it inside,
Well, that's
and
what I was,
and
what
if it's nice, I'd do it outside, but, or do it inside, or do we not want
Where is
music
it?
at all?
do we have enough time to even get something like this together? Fine.
What's the music? Is it like a DJ or is it?
You know, country cover, so he plays country music and sings himself.
One guy.
Cover, one
One
guy,
guy?
yeah, he's very good.
I'm just thinking, like if you did have to be inside, it wouldn't take a lot of room. It's
Right,
not
it
like
wouldn't take up a
6-piece
lot.
band.
Right, the only thing he asks is, $150 plus feed him, since the food's gonna be there anyway.
and who would get this all going? Our committee, our recreation committee?
I don't think they want.
I'm just asking, I'm
Yeah,
just,
you know, we got the one more to go, and I feel like I'm tired. I mean, really, I got horses and an old, you know, my mom and my husband had a stroke, I mean, I'm like stroked out myself with stuff. But, I mean, I just think that maybe the board collectively, and if the board needs help, I'll like jump in and help wherever I can.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I'd be
Yeah.
willing to do it, and if people wanna help with the board, you know, something to help give back to the community.
You know?
How do you feel?
Oh, I think it's a good idea. I remember I was in the Methodist church here for years and, we used to
Right.
do, you know, a fall dinner.
Like a pork dinner or something,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
a dinner with
Yeah.
pies and desserts and,
Right, home cooking meals.
yeah, and
You had to wait outdoors to get in, it was so good.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
This would have to take a lot of, get the word out to
Right,
get the
that's what I
people
was
to come
wondering.
out.
Too.
And it's very weather dependent. I mean, I wouldn't mind preparing something if everybody
Right,
else was
that's-
gonna do that, but
Exactly.
I'm gonna go with the crowd here.
Yeah. Same here, so whatever I can do to help, and
I'll cook a turkey.
I would buy a turkey and cook it, you know,
Yeah,
instead of the town buying it.
right,
We could all That way, I'm fine with that.
If you get 200 people show up, that's a lot of turkey, man.
That's like Tom was saying, that's a lot of
That's
turkey
a
to
lot.
mess with, you know?
Yeah, and it is a,
Backup.
We didn't have 200 at the spring one.
how many people does that hold? It's gotta hold at least that.
It does,
It does.
it does. I had 150 at my wedding, and that's back when the bar was there,
Yeah.
and we still had room on a dance floor.
I mean, the thing is about the turkeys, what we found at the barbecue was there were so many sides. We had a lot of hot dogs and hamburgers left over because people don't eat that much meat
Right,
when there's so many other sides to choose from. So
right.
you may not need as many turkeys as you think you do for 200 people if you have as many sides as we did at the barbecue.
So, sounds like we're all kinda okay with it. Do we want it to be a Saturday or a Sunday? And then do we want music?
I think Saturday is better because, especially for anybody working it because of church on Sunday.
Yep, Saturday.
So if we did Saturday, then that would be
I think it's
the,
hard for
um,
recycling to do anything on Saturday.
But he comes after.
let's see, that would be Saturday the 23rd then, so that would be the weekend before the Grafton breakfast. If we did Saturday the 23rd, and then if we did it kinda later, like it was a dinner, do we wanna do like 4 to 8, or did we wanna do like 3 to 7, or did we wanna do it around lunchtime, like, what do you guys wanna do, what do you guys feel about it? You wanna do like noon to 3 or 4, or like,
3 to 5. Cause then you're not breaking up the people's day, they still have time to accomplish what they need to do on Saturday morning, get their groceries, work around their house or whatever, and then 3 to 5, they're,
day of the breakfast?
and then
no,
their,
it's the weekend before the
I
breakfast,
think the time here is fine.
then their dinner
4 to
covers
8.
it.
I think it's fine.
4 to
On a
8.
Saturday?
Oh, God, no.
Well, 3 to 5 is nice because people who don't like to drive at night
Yeah, it's gonna be dark.
and get
Oh,
in.
true.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm one of them.
I don't stay there till
Yeah, but that's, that's a good point.
We do like 3 to
3 to 6.
7 or 6,
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 to 6 is good.
what do you think,
You think you
Steve?
need more than 2 hours if you're gonna have a band and stuff.
Right, he's willing to play for 3 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
So 3 to 6 would give him his 3 hours.
Or 3 to
Get most people home at a reasonable
7,
time,
it's
it's not too early.
7, it's, shouldn't be too dark at 7. I don't know.
By October,
well, we
yeah.
could always do 3 to 6, and then if it runs over,
3 to 6 with a question
right,
mark. I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't kick anybody out up at the barn if we wanted to, but.
so, do we want music?
Yeah, I would go with the music.
Okay,
I think if, Steve?
so,
Definitely.
if you guys are okay with it, I'll tell him to get me over a contract, and they'll put himself in for the 23rd, and I can call the VFW tomorrow and ask to reserve it for the 23rd.
Okay, I thought we were doing the 17th.
The 17th is a Sunday.
He was just
Oh, he's not available
sampling.
on the 16th.
The 16th, it's booked over at the
Oh, okay.
VFW.
Alright, then I guess we're 23rd.
What time?
And he just made these up.
Yeah, I know, but I thought we had talked.
Yeah, so there's 3 dates that were open at the VFW still. Sunday the 17th, Saturday the 23rd, and Sunday the 24th.
Okay.
You know, I think your big thing here is gonna have to be the advertising
Yeah,
and not count
absolutely.
on Facebook, because
Yep.
there's an age group here that does not do Facebook. And I
Right.
think if they don't get information by word of mouth or by advertising, they're like after the fact.
Well, I was thinking maybe we could put something like this over at the, just around town.
Well, we got the
Definitely,
post office
Right.
and the store,
definitely the recycling, because I worked last
recycling,
Saturday for
I mean,
Recycling.
you know, it's.
Steve, and a lot of people did not even know about Patsy.
I wonder if
A lot.
It went well.
if
I
the
know, but I kept
churches would
telling
be
them, oh,
willing
you're
to,
gonna
to put the word out as well. You know, just to let people know.
This would be all about really advertising, getting the word
Yes.
out, has to go in the paper,
Definitely.
on a regular.
Multiple.
Right.
Yeah.
Firehouse sign.
Yeah, you could even put it on there, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I would support this, it could also turn into something you could do every,
Yearly.
Right, well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping, is turns into something nice that's done every year that people look forward to.
so people have to bring a side dish. You'd have, you know,
Right.
I mean, that's the whole key to this, is that if we're gonna be supplying some of the turkey.
Yeah, I'll make.
It worked well
I'll
for
make
the
stuff in it.
barbecue, like she said, we had
Okay,
more side dishes than we knew what to do with.
And desserts.
And yeah,
But we had a contest to see who's the best side dish.
Right, we could do a contest for best pie. That could be fun,
yeah,
And
because
best
it is
side,
fall.
and best side.
just one for each category.
Yeah,
It was too hard doing.
Cause then you gotta figure out now when they get, it's not that easy. Now everybody gotta have a number, you gotta number every food item, you gotta number every dessert, you gotta hand out everybody sheets of paper, pens, pencils.
yeah.
I'm telling you, the three of us almost left to go to the closest bar. It was not easy.
No,
That's a long ways away.
And then if it's a pie contest and you got 200 people, they wouldn't get a fork,
They got like
a little fork full and that's it.
for their side.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
So some of it was kind of rigged and.
Yeah,
But after a while, we didn't care who rigged what. You want the prize taken, it didn't, it's hard to do, in other words.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, everything's gotta be.
And like you said, with people coming and going too,
you have to have a,
Like a
it's
couple
not
judges
kind of fair
decide
Yeah.
who's
that
the
way.
best.
well, that's a fun idea too, yeah, have
Makes
it.
it
No, but I mean,
Have
if
the
people come and go and they
judges.
wanna be on
Yeah,
contest.
have the judges
Have the
judge.
judges judge.
You would have to have some kind of judges, I mean, you couldn't,
You know, maybe
It would have to be a huge
figure out
pie
a
for
benefit,
200
whether it's
people
the
to
fire
sample.
department, the
I think you
rescue
should
squad,
just try with
breast
the
cancer,
music and the food and.
ASPCA.
No, the contest thing, I don't.
People love that.
It's
Not enough
Cost you a
time.
buck, people will be coming $2.
Okay, so we have a date, we have the 23rd, Saturday. Yep, Saturday the 23rd, 3 to 6 at the VFW. Side dishes, desserts, yes to the music, craft and harvest feast.
at the fire hall,
The fire hall.
That's a
Yeah,
fire
I guess it's called the fire hall.
the fire hall.
No, it's not.
Well, yes, the VFW fire hall, I
Yes.
agree. Yes,
That's all I have.
that's fine.
My dad.
Fire
More flyers, favorite is just if you do more flyers, we'll pour it down. Sorry.
I have a obligation.
No, it's good.
Okay, I only have one other thing. Did we ever do a resolution on the
Marijuana,
Yeah,
not that I know.
cause that had to be the end, by the end of the year, that has to be done, so that's another thing we got to think
I
about.
think it wasn't that if you
I don't
didn't
know
do
if we have
anything,
to.
We don't.
Most municipalities are.
if you didn't do anything, you automatic, right?
Right.
Right.
If you wanna opt out, you would have
You
to
would have
pass,
to opt out.
you would have to formally opt
If
out.
you do nothing, you're automatically in.
Then you automatically get a little money. And what a lot of people had to weigh is, what are the chances of a dispensary
Oh, for sure.
coming up here? And I gotta tell you, so far, I heard they have 2 sites in Rensselaer County they're looking at. And guess where they are?
Alright.
Troy and Rensselaer, the 2 cities. So I don't think you guys have a worry, but I think you will participate in getting some money.
Some revenue.
Right.
So the only thing, the only reason we need to do anything is if we're opting out and not
Correct.
wanting to have.
Correct.
And if we opt out, then we don't get any of the revenue.
Correct.
So there's that.
You can opt back in, I learned later, but most municipalities are not opting out.
Right, that makes sense.
Okay, the next meeting is the regular town board meeting on September 13th at 7 PM. Legislative privilege, I think we're probably good tonight. I would like to adjourn tonight in memory of Dickie Plouffe. Did not know, Edward Plouffe Jr., I believe, passed away,
Oh, wow,
yeah, a while back and we missed that.
COVID, yeah.
So that's 2 members of the Plouffe family that we've lost
From the COVID,
from
right?
COVID-19. So, in memory, so I'd like to make a motion to adjourn in memory of
I'll
Edward
second.
Dickey Plouffe, second by
I
Jody.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, looks like the calendars is, again, thank you guys, thanks for your patience. Thank you. 9:13.
Second one is 7 p.m.
I think I left,